Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World, and I am here at the Martin Guitar HQ, specifically in the Martin Museum, and I'm here with Fred Greene from Martin Guitars.
Hello.
And the legendary Jared Dines is here as well.
Hello.
Yes. So we're here to talk about the launch of the brand new Martin SC13E. Now, fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact before I get started into this, Fred just before had mentioned to me the fact that we were asking about like whether Martin like D28, D16, D45s all meant something like, and he said, well, interestingly enough, those numbers designate how much the guitars were worth at the time. So D28 is $28. C16 is 68. Cool. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So
I wish that was still the case.
See? Well, now this. I said just to Fred. I said now the SC13E, $13.
Damn. There you go.
No.
Inflation.
Since the NAMM show. So anyway, this is an exciting launch because this is really, from what my perspective, is a real departure from what Martin, traditionally does, and to me, I think this is a really innovative guitar, and it's also incredibly fun to play. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, you'll hear Jarrett in a moment to play a little bit of it. Exactly. Yeah. So, with that, I'm going to pass over to you. And so Fred, tell me a little bit about the genesis of this particular guitar.
Sure. We've been working on acoustic-electric cutaway guitars for a long time. It's not anything new, but as with most acoustic electrics, they always started out as basically acoustic guitars first, and then the electric part was always an afterthought. They were really never designed from day one to be AE, right? And it always felt like the guitars were just, we take a D28 and we take a bite out of it,
right?
Essentially.
Sure.
Everything was a compromise from that point forward. You would lose some volume. You couldn't really actually get down and play in the cutaway the way you wanted to because you had that traditional heel working. And we figured at some point somebody's got to try to do something a little bit different. Right. But you can't lose the essence of who you are. It still has to be an acoustic guitar.
Has to be classic.
That's exactly it. We didn't want to make a hybrid. So we said, let's just go to the drawing board and just start fresh, just from scratch. Let's no preconceived notions about what something has to be. And we'd sort of been playing around, and I'm a notorious doodler in meetings because I can't pay attention. And I'd been drawing this shape for a while, just sort of making circles on a pad of paper. And I went to our lead designer, Tim Teal, and I said, Tim, we need to, this is the shape I want. I want something that looks like it's leaning forward as a way of signifying to guitar players that this is moving into the future, something different. It had to feel like it had some sense of motion to it. It wasn't a static piece. And so Tim and Ramin, our other designer, got to work, and they started putting together the body shape, and we started playing with rosette motifs and things of that nature. And then the hardest piece was to solve that heel, and how are we going to attach the neck, and how we're going to allow you to actually get down there.
This is the cool part.
This is the cool part. So we said, all right, if we got rid of it, we could always just bolt the neck on. But that just did not feel authentic to who we were as an organization, as a company. Martin was always a dovetail neck company. Right. So we said, can we come up with a clever way of still using a dovetail neck joint, but removing that heel, sort of playing with things? And so we came up with this Sureline neck joint, which essentially gets rid of that heel in the back. And it looks as though you have two bolts that are actually bolting the neck in, but the definition of a bolt on neck would be bolts going into the neck. In this particular case, that's not what happens. These two bolts actually go into a dovetail, and that dovetail pulls the neck into the body. And by doing that, we were able to sort of get rid of that corner, get rid of the heel. This is actually the front block that's exposed here. It's a really innovative design on the inside. It allows you to take the neck out of the guitar really quick.
That's the coolest part.
Do all kinds of cool things.
Two turns?
Yeah.
You just turn this guy and you turn that guy, it comes right off.
Super simple.
Just like me, super simple.
Love it. Yeah, so that's the first thing. So to me, when I first, when you introduced the guitar, and the first thing I noticed obviously was the new body shape, which sort of ellipsis shape, which is kind of cool. And so that to me was the start. But what most people don't realize when you look at it, as you pull it in the back, since you're talking about it, this is, it's essentially a bolt-on guitar.
Correct.
And but the fact that the way you guys have, engineered it, it is so seamless, you don't even notice it. Unless the camera really goes deep, but you can't see that, and you really don't feel it. It's really stable and rigid for a neck joint. It's amazing.
We spent a lot of time working on the lines of the guitar, so it felt very integrated and just didn't feel like it was just a bolted on neck. So making sure that we got this transition on the neck, so it came in there really soft and smooth. It's so odd when you're playing acoustic guitar normally with a cutaway. You come down and you feel that heel, and it kind of stops you there, and you just sort of adjust and you kind of try to manhandle it however best you can. So the first time you play this guitar, your hand just goes there naturally, and you're not
so
thinking
comfy.
about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
And because you're not thinking about it, then all of a sudden it sort of catches you. Go, wait a minute, I'm not used to playing acoustic guitar down here. It's kind of freaking me out. I'm playing stuff I wouldn't normally
That's
play.
my first thought when I was playing it.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the kind of aha moment that we wanted people to have with the instrument. We knew that traditionalists were going to sort of point the finger at us on this, but we were having this conversation last night. It's our job as designers to just put these things out for people like you.
Sure.
And then you take it and decide whether it's a useful tool.
Sure, yeah.
And create art with it.
Oh, I love it, yeah. I mean, the fact that it's a shredder guitar, essentially. Like, you can do so much on it that you can't normally, do on an acoustic, and you can get way up there. It's super comfortable. It's awesome. And the ability to remove the neck, basically, essentially, hopefully, right, is to be able to replace it with another type of neck without having to buy another body, right?
That's exactly right.
That's cool. I think that's cool. That's super cool.
I agree.
Yeah, since Jared touched on that, and that's the thing that's what makes this really an interesting instrument, is the fact that now that we have this removable neck, it gives you incredible flexibility and options, right? And say, like, I think the idea of this guitar is that it'll evolve into many different things. Like, maybe you want a different neck carve, maybe you want a different fingerboard, maybe you needed the action lower. That's
you want
all.
a custom.
Maybe you want a custom, exactly.
Custom,
All that can be accomplished with this, and as you mentioned before, another very cool thing is it can actually be a very cool travel guitar. You pop that neck off, travel with it, and then put it back together. But talk a little bit more about the idea of that, like how you can sort of tweak the neck. Because that's really, I think, a really fascinating.
Yeah. So on the inside of this neck, there's a small plate that, if you loosen the neck just a little bit, that you can reach inside, pull this plate out, which allows you to sort of micro adjust the string height and the playability. Some people want a little bit higher string height. Some people want heavier strings. So you're going to want a little more space there for the action. This allows you to sort of do that on the fly. In the old days, you'd have to do a total neck reset, where you'd have to start playing with the saddle and the bridge and changing things permanently that you can't go backwards. With this particular piece, it's just loosen it, pull out the adjustment plate, replace it with a different one, totally changes the action on the guitar. And there's an intonation screw on the inside, so you can loosen it up and change the intonation depending on whatever you've done to the guitar.
Super easy.
Turn it off. It's
Very
super
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
You can do everything in literally under 5 minutes.
I learned it in 2 minutes, and that's saying something. Super easy.
We might have to put some footage of Jared actually.
Right, yeah. Just
getting it in there.
I was afraid because I thought it was going to, you got to just turn it. I thought it was going to break, but it just clicks, right?
Yeah.
It clicks, and then once it clicks, you're good.
Yeah, it just uses a torque wrench, and once you hear it click, you can't, it's foolproof.
is.
You can't screw it up.
Yeah.
I've tried, trust me.
No, I think it's important for a lot of the guys who like to tweak their own instruments. Once I think this becomes more familiar to them, you'll find, at least at what we found, how easy it is to actually kind of access this and do it yourself. So, but the initial idea here is, of course, is for you to be comfortable right out of the bat, which is what you've accomplished here, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we made a couple other small tweaks. Like I said, it's got to be Martin. I mean, that's the key piece for us. So while the bridge looks like a pretty traditional belly bridge for Martin guitar, it's actually got a totally different radius. We wanted it to feel a little more comfortable on your hand, so when you're palm muting. That piece of it felt more comfortable. Of course, it's got a tuner on the inside that makes it easy. It's a laminate koa, right? So we don't usually do much laminate Martin.
Right.
So, but we wanted to give it a beautiful piece of wood. in there. We used, like I said, different rosette material. We said, listen, if we're going to break all the rules, let's just break them all.
Right. If we're going to piss one person off, piss
Let's piss
everyone
them all
off.
off.
Yeah, just get it out of there.
And, we're going to find new people. We're going to find new people. Don't be mad because it's not a D28.
Sure.
We still make D28.
I was going to say,
so
the classics are always going to be there.
Exactly. They didn't go anywhere.
Sure.
This is for people maybe who aren't as brand specific or loyal. They're looking for a guitar that fits their style of music.
Sure.
And this is just something we currently don't offer.
It's very versatile.
Yeah. That's it.
A lot of options.
No, and I've said that too. It's just because if you're looking at this instrument and going like, well, what the hell is that? Then that's clearly not for your old boomer. So you need to, don't worry, Martin makes plenty of D28s and D18s to go right back to. But this, I think, again, this is a real innovative piece, which I would highly suggest that you go and check it out, because and my initial reaction too is like, wow, this is something different. And then once you start playing it, you find yourself actually getting lost with it. So it's a very cool thing. But since you also mentioned about here you are, you're going the full distance in creating this brand new instrument, but at the same time in the back of your heads, you're Martin guitars. So how far do you go? How far do you go and you're like, okay, we need to bring that back? With the idea with the blue opal and things like that, how far do you go? Till you feel that you've gotten it right and we should edit it over here.
We experimented. We made some pretty goofy looking prototypes, kind of pushing the envelope a bit on some things. And early on, we were actually playing with the idea of a 3D printed front block inside instead of a wood front block.
Gotcha.
Because this piece was so difficult to manufacture for us.
How long did it take? From idea to conception?
Probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first proto we actually showed the board of directors, Chris
cool.
Martin. We actually had like this piece of sliding glass door that we were using to sort of slide the neck together.
Nice.
It was
nice.
It was.
I'd love to have seen that.
It was pretty lowbrow.
For that.
It was pretty junky, but they got the concept across.
Okay.
And so once we got them to agree to go ahead and give us some free reign to go ahead and take a shot at this thing, we started experimenting with a lot of things. Like I said, that we wanted to use that 3D printed block because we said, hey, this will be easy. We'll just order these things up, print them. We can make changes. It'd be really cool. But in the end, it was a big plastic block. And there was something about that just did not feel
sit right
authentic
with Martin
for us. So we kind of reined ourselves back in. And like I said, originally we thought about just bolting the neck on. And that was another one where it just didn't quite feel right. So we just took the extra time to try to create that floating dovetail piece.
I think you killed it. Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's really nice. I really appreciate you saying that. So we did rein ourselves in quite a few times on a few pieces, and we had some really crazy looking rosettes that we tried in here also that were just a little too sparkly.
Yeah.
It's always hard because you're editing yourself. I'm more of a traditionalist in terms of guitars.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Just my age group or whatever it may be. And you have to stop designing things for you and understand that in the position you're designing for the future.
Yeah.
And, I've already got the guitars I want.
Sure.
In that sense, but people who are coming up, it's a different thing. So you have to sort of let all that garbage go out of your brain and let the creative guys like Tim and Ramin come in and present these ideas to you that are like, oh, it's your kind of guys are blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And I said, that's really cool. And then my job is to sort of curate those ideas.
So, as you mentioned, the other two guys who were behind this, like Tim and Ramin and yourself, like how long, obviously you must have sat with these guitars for quite a while, going home with them and doing it amongst all the other stuff that you're releasing, right? You're sitting there and you're taking notes and how many did you was there a lot of changes before it got to final product, or did you find it was actually, it started to come together rather quickly?
Once we solved the neck joint piece of it, it started to come together. And then it was more debating about neck shapes. How thin is too thin?
Sure.
How low of action is too low of action? That's the weird thing about when you're designing guitars. If you're sitting at home and you watch, hey, I'd love to design guitars someday, it seems relatively easy in the sense that you're just going to make this stuff that you want.
Yeah.
All right, but as we just talked about, it's really not about us we make stuff that excites us.
Unbiased
for sure.
opinion is hard.
It really
when
is.
created, yeah.
And there's a whole factory of people whose livelihoods depend on our decisions. And people don't think about the things that you have to create instruments that people in the factory can actually build.
Right.
And there's tooling concerns, and there's
Yeah.
material concerns, and can those suppliers deliver these things to you on time? And so all that stuff has to be part of the consideration of the design work. So once we get that neck joint piece solved, and we started working on the neck itself and some of the aesthetics of the instrument, that just changed the whole idea of the debate. We knew we had a cool piece. Now it was, can we tell the story? Can we make it simple?
And have a successful launch.
Exactly. And part of that is having a story that people go, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't need an hour's explanation to tell me how
Sure.
this thing works.
Sure.
As soon as you pick it up, you play it, you feel it.
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. I mean, I've spent a couple weeks with it. It's I've never seen that before, especially with acoustics. So bravo to you
Thank
for
you.
that. I
Thanks.
mean, it's really cool. The idea of potentially having 3 or 4 necks lying around at home of different, say different lengths or different types of wood
Right.
or whatever, that I can literally just say, oh, today I want to play ebony, today I want to play mahogany, whatever it may be. I can literally just go click, click,
And
you're there,
rocking.
you're rocking. Yeah,
That's
it's so
it.
cool.
And I
So
expect
cool.
at some point, some people will have options where you can, different frets, if you want stainless steel frets, or you want like those gold Evo frets or something
Yeah.
different,
Right.
wide frets, then people are going to want to play with all kinds of different options. And it's there to help artists create. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
You want somebody to make something cool with it.
right.
And then all of a sudden the guitar finds a place.
Yeah.
That's artists determine which guitars are hits and which guitars aren't hits, in
Yeah.
all honesty.
Right.
If nobody ever played a D28 and they all played D21s instead, then the D21 would be the iconic piece, not the D28.
Right.
But Hank Williams played a D28.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So that was the
Sure.
difference maker right
Yeah.
there. So you guys make the difference, not us.
You guys.
These guys, exactly.
Well, so it's true. I'm always like watching out for the early adopters, and Jared is the perfect example of an early adopter of this acoustic, and it's a great like right away. Like the one thing, of course, when you do play it, is the neck automatically just feels perfect.
Feels great.
Yeah, I mean, and like he'll play a little, play a little bit.
Yeah, I can play a little diddly or something. Yeah, sure. It's great body too. So like as a normal acoustic, it's great. It feels great, and you can do that like shreddy shit. And it's just comfortable, It's awesome. It's great.
That's cool.
It's great.
You can't do that.
I like when I sit down. I don't really ever have I'm gonna practice this or I'm gonna play this. I always just doodle, and this is such a doodle writing tool instrument because it is kind of like that gap between, at least how it feels, acoustic and electric. At least for me, in my opinion. So yeah, I think you killed it. I think it's great.
Thanks, man.
I think it's great.
Thank
Jared, I mean, you play great. I mean, I'm surprised more people don't know about it. It's just incredible.
So
terrible.
unknown.
Yeah, I mean, really. You should look this guy up. I think he is. I'm not sure. Somewhere.
I've done a couple of videos.
Shit.
Maybe we had him here for a reason. I don't know. All right.
Do you want to play?
No, I mean,
So you got that. You got that blues twang. You got that deep south twang.
I do. I do.
You got that.
Trying to hide my background here.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, again, as I said before, this is a really inspiring launch. I think I love the guitar and initially I always say it may not be for everyone, but I think if you go in and really give it a chance, this is something that you're taking Martin into a newer, greater direction by making guitars like this. So
Right, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah. Ever been to church when they're doing the tithing thing and they always play the music where they're like, please if you feel led. to help us out and support us in everything that we do. We really would appreciate checking out the guitar.
That's it. That's it. You got it captured.
I love it. This is great.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's great.
Cool.
It's a great guitar. And I love the features inside too. I mean, I don't know if these are stock for all Martins, but the fact that you have
Like a mid scoop.
the mid scoop and the volume in
Right.
here and everything is just it's perfect.
Yeah, and
It's perfect.
we put that little X bracing
Instead
on
of
the back. It's kinda
sticking out
different.
like somewhere,
All right, we had a lot of discussion about that, and we've gotten to the point where we want to put all electronics on the inside because
I think that's great.
electronics obsolescence is so quick.
Yeah.
In the electronic world, once you format something weird on the side of it and it changes, you're stuck with it
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
So by putting it on the inside, you can always take it out.
Sure.
And then put something else, something
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Change it to whatever your personal taste.
Absolutely.
Are. So let's try to
Absolutely. Well, hell yeah.
future-proof it.
There you have it. Check it out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the evolution. I mean, what are we gonna do? Solid colors, glitter. What else? What else are we gonna do? We're gonna put some stripes like Eddie Van Halen. I want it all.
Surprises for you coming
Yeah,
next year.
down the road.
You know?
Down the road.
For sure, yeah.
I'm sure Jared's going to come back to us and say, "Can you make me something that
Yeah,
looks like this?"
Yeah, I think
want
that would
you to.
probably be their question: is how custom can this get with the
That's it.
with the neck? The new design.
At Martin Guitar, we never say what you can and can't do. We only tell you how much.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's only money, baby. It's
only
money.
Oh, that's great.
That's it. So
Awesome.
yeah, come up with tell me something you want, and we'll make it.
Okay, I will.
I'm not joking.
I will. I will.
You tell me, you come back and say, I want you to do one that looks like this, or do
Okay.
something like that,
Okay.
and I'll put the guys to work, and we'll make it for you.
Awesome.
All right.
I'll think of
It's a
something
deal.
ridiculous.
It's on camera.
It's on camera.
I can't back out
Handshake
now.
it right there.
Can't back out
Boom.
now.
Oh, I can't wait for this. We're gonna cover this.
Yeah,
This is
right.
great.
It's gonna be a neck this thick with one giant string going down, or some craziness
A lot of
like
string
that.
tension.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's funny.
Well, it's great. I can't wait to see the evolution of this guitar. And again, thanks for coming, Jared, Fred,
Yeah.
Martin
Check it
Guitars,
out.
Thank
the
you.
SC13E, and definitely check it out.
Check it out.
Yes.
Link.